Okay, recording start. My name is Erdem Alparslan. I'm one of the founders of IT Society, working as an engineering manager in Notion, and I'm leading developer experience and QA in Notion. Um, so today's session will be third one of a series of four for interview preparation tips and tricks for interviews. Last week, Oğuzhan Topgül, had two sessions on job search, application, and recruiter call. I'm taking over from this point. I guess like the most important part right now is the phone screen, take-home assignment, and on-site interviews. Negotiation and onboarding is less important, so I will prioritize my time for these two topics. If you have any questions, happy to answer those questions around these topics. We can go deep. You can give some examples that you had in the interviews that you had in the past, like problems you encountered, like the situations that you don't know how to navigate. Please talk about these, and I will try to give guidance as well. If you have anything to speak up, please raise your hand by using the button at the bottom of your Google Meet page, or even you can unmute yourself and interrupt me. Totally fine to interrupt. This training, by the way, have been handled in the past one more time, I guess 2 years-ish ago. We just like updated the material to reflect the recent development in the job market. It is tough. It is not like 2 years ago. So I tried to put more kind of reflect more the current situation into this talk. It is tough, but it's getting better, definitely. As a hiring manager working in a hyper growth company, I can see that lots of new open positions are coming. It's not like 2-3 months ago. It's not like the days that I like primarily talk with you in a meeting and ask your experience about job search. You remember that meeting 2-3 months ago. It's not like that. It's getting better. It will be better to the end of the year, but like end of year, like Christmas season, holiday season, probably we won't have that much opening. I'm very optimistic for the next year, actually. So you should be very much prepared with your resume, with your job search, with your interview performance, with your lead code, with your technical ability, with your behavioral interviews, etc. You should be ready for the new time coming. First of all, for technical phone screen and take-home assignment section, by the way, you will see technical phone screen and on-site interview has lots of similarities. We will pay most of our time here, so we will reutilize almost the same tips and tricks for on-site interviews as well. So technical phone screen here means pre-evaluation of the company. This is only one session interview. It is technical. It is around like, it can be something from 30 minutes to 1 hour. Mostly it is like 45-ish minutes. And you were asked a question, a technical question, and you are expected to answer this question online. It's not an on-site interview. It is an online interview. In the past, it was also an online interview. We call this on-site. It is not always on-site. Companies are doing on Zoom or Google Meet, yes. But this is the historical name. It means like you go to a company, you take 4 or 5 rounds of interviews, and you got the job after that. but technical phone screen is the pre-evaluation, pre-elimination. So I can say from my experience, we funnel all candidates, and we got like from like the fit resumes. I'm not talking about all resumes, but like from the fit ones, we got like 20% of them to phone screen. From phone screen to on-site, we like pass rate is around 50%. So if you are on phone screen, it is very likely you will be on-site. This is my experience. And if you're on on-site, if this is not a competitive role, it is very likely you could be hired. So trying to get into phone screen is important. Trying to get ahead of all the other resumes and being invited for a phone screen is very important. That's why Ozan's last week sessions are very important, because out of thousands of resumes, the only way you can stand out is a good resume, actually, and a good job search. It is hard at this time. There are lots of applicants, I know, but it is possible. You should use referrals. You should have a good resume. Ozan already talked about that. I won't talk again. We have a recording for the second session of Ozan. I will also share this with this recording and the next recording. All recordings will come to Discord channel. So the first tip, know your audience, do a little search about your interviewer and the company project. What happened in the past? I found a GitHub repository of interviewer online with some interview questions in that. I had this. I won't say the company name, but there were like 5 to 10 interview questions. I just like solved all these questions beforehand, and the interviewer asked one of these questions. This is happening sometimes. This is possible. Even if it's not interview questions, just Google your interviewer if you know the name. Go to their LinkedIn profile. Go and understand their like engineering style, like what background they are coming, etc. Because most probably they will ask questions related to that. And also, most of these interview things are personal relationship. If the interviewer likes you, if you have some minor defects, they may compensate and just like say, okay, it is still a pass. If you don't have a good frequency match with the interviewer, even with a decent performance, they may just decline. They may just deny your interview. So the human touch is really important. Be aware that you should find commonalities between your interviewer and yourself. If you do so, your chance is getting very, very much more. Some people may just question, hey, everyone, like, what are you talking about? This is a fair process. There are like interview rubrics and the questions and expected answers, etc., and they are evaluating against it. No, yes, they have some rubrics, etc., but it is human at the end. I'm not talking about for major failures, but for minor defects in your coding or like explanation, etc. If you have a good relationship with your interviewer, it's good. The second thing, know yourself. How do you cope with stress? Because the session might or might not be stressful. It is very likely it will be stressful. It is very likely, for example, your interviewer may rush you into the question, and you want more time to talk, to think about that, but they may interrupt you consistently without having a like bad talk with them, but somehow you should create your own space in the interview. This is the way you cope with stress of interview. Also, this is about like preparation of interview as well. For example, if you are mostly stressful in the mornings, don't take these interviews in the mornings if possible. Just do after lunch, for example. It is your own stress coping mechanism. And the third thing is have your water, coffee prepared. Have some fresh air. This is very important. Before the interview, probably you will study a little bit more, solve one question more, etc. Just before 5 minutes, to stop doing anything, go out and take some fresh air because you will need that. Maybe you are feeling now okay now, but within the 10 to 20 stressful minutes of the interview, you might be overwhelmed. This is fun, but this is my tip trick. I like music. I play music. That's why this motivates me. Something else may motivate you. I have a pre-session song, something upbeat, energetic, and keeping you motivated. Listen that just 1 minute before the session starts. You can't believe how helpful is this. It will help your motivation a lot. If you are a food person, just go and have that food before the interview. If it is not sugary and not make you down, actually. This is also an important tip that you need to keep in mind. And all these preparations are for that one. Give a positive outlook. Be energetic. So this stage of interview, technical phone screen, most interviewers are less engaged because you are not in on-site. It is just many candidates coming in and they are just eliminating. Like the objective of this interview is just eliminating people. So they are not engaged with the interviewees, the candidates, that much. So the thing that you have to do in this session is you have to create relationship with your interviewer. You have to keep them in the loop. Get their attention. They must feel we should give this candidate a chance for on-site. This is the sentence we use in our interview feedback for tech screen. We don't say, oh, we should hire this. We don't say this. We just say we should give this candidate a chance for on-site because they were good. Okay, so your aim, your objective is getting an unattentive interviewer's attention to yourself and being able to for this guy to say we should give this candidate a chance for on-site. If you meet this, you're successful in your goal. Now getting into more the details of the interview session. Understand the question. So most of the candidates fail because they misunderstand the question and do not confirm their understanding. So you understand something, but the question is talking about something else. I have seen examples of candidates understand the right thing, but interviewer themselves don't understand the right thing from the question. It is not important that you're right or wrong. It is important that you're aligned with your interviewer. Alignment is the keyword because you are getting pass or fail from that guy. Okay. So I want to show you an example from a YouTube video here. Hopefully this will work exact time. So you will see an example from Google here. I'm not sure the sound is okay. I think like I need to share this here. You might not hear the sound. Let me change it. Share the sound. This is the one.
Okay, let's get started. Okay, so Sammy, here's my technical question for you. A farmer wants to farm their land with the maximum area where good land is present. The land is represented as a matrix with ones and zeros, where
Don't try to understand the question. The question is a medium level lead code question. It's not our objective. I just want to show that like how candidate is confirming what they understood with interviewer. We'll see this relationship.
ones mean good land and zeros mean bad land. The farmer only wants to farm in a square of good land with the maximum area. Please help the farmer to find a maximum area of the land they can farm in good land. I'll paste the question, and that includes an example as well for you.
Awesome. May I take a moment to read it and then ask you clarifications?
Of course.
You see, may I take a moment to read it? The candidate said, is even this should be confirmed, okay? Just like confirm everything with your interviewer, because if you silently try to read it, your interviewer won't know like if you are thinking or if you're reading, if you are confused, if you have any questions, etc. Look at the candidate. The candidate says, let me read it.
Thank you. Awesome. So my first question, must it be a square, the area they want to farm, or could it be a rectangle?
For this problem, we only want it to be returning a square.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
As a reminder, it's important to get clarity whenever possible. Many questions will be deliberately open-ended because we're looking to see how you engage with the problem and your primary method for solving it. Be sure to talk through your thought process and feel free to ask specific questions if you need clarification.
I don't have to say anything on top of that. You see, very good example of clarifying question, right?
And I can think of like the naive solution, but probably I shouldn't do this, but I'll just run it by you.
Okay.
I can loop over every position. And for every position, I can basically start from that moment onwards, go left and right and count however many ones I can find in like a rectangle or a square, sorry. But that would be, if let's say the dimensions of the square is like n by n, that would be at best n to the 4, which is not ideal. And I assume by posing this question, you want to find an efficient solution.
Yes.
This was a good example of explaining your thoughts. Remember, we want to understand how you think, so it's always good to explain your thought process and decision-making throughout the interview. We're not only evaluating your technical ability, but also how to solve your problems. Be sure to explicitly state and check your assumptions with the interviewer to ensure they are reasonable.
I'm wondering if you can just visualize what maybe this brute force approach would look like, maybe using the example.
So I won't go in detail more. We will see another example from the same video. Is there any question up to this point from the audience, especially given this example? For example, it's very verbose. The candidate might not have enough time to think, or like speaking in English while also thinking about the solution might not be easy for the ESL speakers like us, not native speakers. So do you have any reflection? Do you have any opinion about these?
I think memorizing the answers before going to interview could be a better solution. I know the questions will be different, but the structure can be like STAR method or something like that. So like in this interview, you can list possible questions that you can ask to the interviewer. Could be a good plan, right?
Yeah, I mean, if this is a tree question, you can ask like, is this a binary tree? Kind of like there are some trivial questions, the first clarifying questions you always can ask. For example, if they give you like this a graph, you can just ask like, are there any empty ones? Are there anything other than 0 or 1? Like there's some good trivial questions to be asked. This is true. There should be some number of questions. While you are solving questions on LeetCode, just try to exercise this one as well. Even you understand the question, just try to ask some good questions against the question itself. You don't have an interviewer, but try to fabricate some questions.
Yes, actually, I had a very weird experience with Google interview. So, interview asked me, we are gonna design a ETM machine today, and he said, ask me question about the question. I said, I don't have any idea. I mean, it's a ATM machine, but you are gonna ask a question, right? He said, no, just ask me question. How can we design an ATM machine? So it's gonna be a LeetCode question. I mean, data structure or algo question, but it's gonna be returned to a system design question. And I asked him, is this a system design? He said, no, it's gonna be a algo question.
Yeah.
But there is no question. So I asked some questions, but I totally failed, and it's it very unexpected interview for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, failed bad.
This goes to the like how do you cope with stress also a little bit. Let me rephrase what you explained, if I understood correctly, Alijan. You were in an interview with Google. It was a coding interview.
Yes.
The only thing your interviewer asked you is just design me an ATM machine.
Yes.
Code it. And the interviewer wanted you to ask clarifying questions as part of the interview.
Yes.
Okay. This is a very good interview, by the way. So why we do this? There are different types of evaluation we do. We just check technical ability in some candidates. And sometimes we check collaboration skills of candidates. And if candidate is able to understand the problem, even the understanding problem sometimes would be sufficient for that session. So this is likely you all may see in the future, especially I see like some QA engineers in the room. This is also valid for them. Sometimes we just like give a very, very superficial problem statement with 3 or 4 words. It's not a system design question, it's coding question. We just like give the problem. This is the problem that we have, how we can solve. Since the problem is very superficial, we want engineers to ask the right questions, dig into that problem, and clarify the problem more. This is part of interview. And this is a very good example. Thanks, Alijan.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing this. Moving forward. So this is understanding the question. So do as much as you can to understand the question, but don't spend too much time on this. Don't spend. If it has been 15 minutes, like if it has been more than 5 minutes, actually, you understand the question, but you are still trying to show your like question asking skills, etc. It's waste of time. We interviewers look for a signal for one time. If one time we get the signal, we just write down, that's it. We don't need multiple signals for the same thing. Just give one time that signal. You are able to ask and clarify the right questions. Just give this one time. When you are sure that you have given the signal to your interviewer, you're confident, don't ask. Don't try to give the same signal more and more. If you haven't understood the question, for sure you should ask. But if you understood and you have gave the signal, just pass and start ideation of solutions. Now we will see that step and the answering questions part. Your language is the unique way to express yourself while answering the question. You are actually, while answering the question, you are showcasing how you work with people. This is important. Don't consider these interviews like just no sentiment, no behavior. It's just technical. You just need to solve this question. If you solve, you're successful. If you can't solve, you are unsuccessful. This is not like that. People, the interviewer is trying to understand if I can work with this guy. For example, if I'm interviewing Alican, I just am trying to understand if Alican joins my team, can I work with this guy? This is the main thing that we are trying to catch. So, good team member, good at resolving conflict of interest, good profile to take more responsibilities and able to manage load, challenging tasks, good techie, and perfect individual contributor. We are trying to show these. And while answering questions, this is my very rough guidance. It could change time to time, but start with brute force. Easiest solution by just explaining it. Do not jump into coding that solution, the brute force solution. Get confirmation from your interviewer that if they are looking for a more optimized, or is it okay to code this solution? So the brute force solution is most likely all of you for almost every question can come up with. It is just like, if it is a graph matrix, it is just like 2 for loop inside each other or 3 for loops inside each other, etc. And you can find the solution. It's very, very unoptimal, but you can find the solution. Even this easiest, this dummiest solution, you should explain this in the interview. You should say, I can do this and that, do this and that, so I can find. I know this is not the most optimal solution. If you want me to solve this way, I can solve. If you want me to further optimize, let me further optimize. Before getting into coding, you should confirm this with your interviewer. Here is the example.
So far, and then until I loop over all the indices possible, maybe I'll update my 3 to something else, and then I'll return wherever number has been kept. But as we already said, this is not optimal, but it will do the job.
I think that even though this may be a brute force solution, it would be the right approach in checking the nearby values and having that inform how large the square could be.
Awesome. And I guess, do you want me to program this brute force solution, or am I going to be penalized? And should I just think about something better?
We can just move on to maybe what you would consider more optimal.
Have you seen? I think this was a very bad example. The candidate said, will you penalize me for implementing this dummy brute force solution? And the interviewer laughed at him, as you saw. It's not a good word to use in the interviews, but the gist of that statement was like, do you want me to implement this way, or do you want me to further optimize? Because if I implement that way and it's not efficient, you might just fail me. Just confirm with your interviewer every step, every important step you will take. Just confirm with the interviewer.
Solution.
Sure. Awesome. Okay. So these kinds of problems, I feel like I can solve them in 2 other different ways. The first one would be recursive. So here, the recursion can say, let's.
So it is getting into this part. It's better to optimize further before start coding. For example, in the mock interview below, the candidate follows brute force to recursive plus memoization, and even dynamic programming improvements. You may or may not go further down the entire route, but try to optimize more. At least like if you have brute force, put some memory into that and do some memorization, or like put some recursive thinking into that and merge it with memorization. It's almost like the best solution, by the way. Like you don't have to hit dynamic programming for everything. Let's see the example here.
Then it will be 4. But let me just like,
So that would mean the diagonal number would also be 3, to which case, because you have a 1 in that first field, at the 0, 1 coordinates, what could that say? If all of the 3 values down, diagonal, and to your right are all 3, and this is a 1, what could that be?
makes sense. Okay, so if all the values are 3, then I should say I can do 4.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Okay. So I think I'm able to write it recursively. Of course, the recursion is not the most optimal because it has to retry something multiple times.
Still, the candidate didn't code anything. You see, still ideating with interviewer. You don't have to do this every time because it has been still 12 minutes since we started and no coding. This also might not be a good idea, by the way. This mock interview of Google is just showing you all steps in between having the question and start coding. That's why it's very extensive. But you may skip some of these steps and get faster into the point of coding.
Yes.
We can always add a memorization memory element to it. This way, each unique invocation will only happen once, which will make this be at most quadratic. We will invoke it at most n squared times. But usually for anything that you can do with memorization, there ought to be a dynamic programming solution where you can do bottoms up. You want me to program the recursive memorization?
The candidate here is like teaching, actually. We don't have to be that verbose, actually. We can just say, okay, the recursive solution is there, and most of the time we improve our recursive solutions with memorization. The interviewer already knows what memorization does, actually, so you don't have to explain that much. But the sequence, you see, right? The sequence is good, actually. Starting very, very simple, confirming the better and better, and asking interviewer what type of solution they are looking for implementation. There are some other behavioral notes that I would talk about. Don't take long notes and read them during an interview. So this is really bad attitude, especially these days. They may think you are having a second computer and you are talking to ChatGPT. So don't do that. Try to be very much focused on the screen and engage with your interviewers. This is very important, especially these days. Try to be confident, but also friendly. The confidence shouldn't be arrogance. It should be friendliness. Do not speak so fast. Be clear in your words. Use less words, but clear words. Give some gaps between sentences. Emphasize important words like memorization, recursive solution. These are important, especially time complexity or space complexity, like n square, quadratic, etc., linear, whatever you will talk about. These are also very important signals. Like, I don't want you to fail because you are not clear in your speaking. You talk about the right thing, but your interviewer doesn't understand. It is the worst thing. It's the worst thing. So try to be clear. Don't try to speak too much. I think in this interview, the candidate was a little bit verbose to me. I didn't like that much. I should be less talking than this one. but definitely you shouldn't be silent. 5 seconds, 10 seconds of silence is okay, by the way. It's totally okay. But it shouldn't be like minutes of silence. You are coding, you are not saying anything. It's not good. It's not ideal, okay? The worst thing, do not fall into conflict with the interviewer, even if you are sure about your answer. Remember what you are trying to achieve. You are not trying to be right. You are trying to get the job. So some interviewers are, to be honest, jerk. Some are very arrogant. Some are technically not capable as you are. I'm not saying like you should commit something wrong. Yes, but you don't have to prove yourself as right on the topic. So if this is a very minor thing, and if interviewer is thinking that way, just leave them with their thoughts and move forward. Don't try to be in the conflict, because at the end of the day, as I said, it's not science, it is art to evaluate a candidate, actually. And this art has an attribute of like sentiments in the mind about you. Don't hesitate to say, I don't know, or I don't have experience on this specific area. You are still valuable. Don't hesitate to say this. Most of the time, if this is not critical to the role, we don't consider like a candidate to know everything, actually. So that's totally fine. You can say, I don't know that. For example, you had, for this example, actually, you had the recursive solution with memoization, but like interviewer is like forcing you for dynamic programming. And if you are not familiar that much, it's totally fine. You shouldn't feel bad that you are not solving this with dynamic programming, because you're almost in the most optimal solution already with recursive plus memoization in most of the times. Okay, so next step is manage your time. There is a guidance here. I don't say this is the best guidance. It depends. Flexibly during the interview, you have to change it. But very important thing, 5 minutes at most for saying hi and intros. Even like if you can keep it 2 minutes, it's better. I have seen some examples. People had a good, thought that having a good relationship with their interviewer for 15, 20 minutes, they talk about what you have done in the weekend, hiking in these mountains, what food they like, etc. You build relationship with your interviewer, but at the end of the day, you have to solve the question that they will ask you. And some interviewers are really, really not careful, not respectful of your time, and they just like can burn your 15 to 20 minutes. And then like after 20 minutes with rush, within 25 minutes, they ask you, they want you to solve a medium or hard question. I solved the examples of this. I witnessed myself the example of that. So try to limit the conversation intros at the beginning, so that you don't burn your time, waste your time for something very unimportant. Okay. The intros are just to break the ice, like it's ice breaking for you. Like it's breaking the ice between you and an interviewer, because you guys see each other first time. This is for that, not for more. 5 minutes to clarify the question. Mostly I have seen in the example above in the video, the guy asked like 10 minutes-ish clarification. 10 minutes, I think you need to have something reasonable. This could be coding. This could be like showing your solution on an example. And then if you are a fast coder, you can just jump in and do the coding afterwards. And 10 minutes spent on hard parts. Hard parts here means edge cases. Okay. So like if you solve the question, the graph question, for example, above, but you didn't handle the edges of these the graph. So if you go out of the graph, you're getting null pointer exceptions because you're out of array index boundaries, etc. You can solve these kind of things. Or like you have a recursive solution that your stop condition of recursiveness is not designed well. Those kind of situations you need to handle. And in the last 5 to 10 minutes, I think the best thing to do, if you're able to do that, probably you will get this interview round. Test your solution, validate your solution on an example. So you coded it, put an example matrix, for example, if this is a graph question, or if it's a 3-question example 3, and you run your line by line code on the 3 or graph and show how your implementation is handling. And if you find errors, go back and improve your coding. This is the best signal. Interviewers love that. If you like, there are 2 cases. You implement everything from scratch perfectly. This is one solution. The second solution is you have some solution working for best cases, but some cases failing. You go and fix those problems and you bring your code to the same state as the previous one. I prefer the second one. I prefer people who are putting something fast in front of me and then improve it and make it perfect with solving bugs. This is the most important skill that I'm looking for, actually. Okay. This is for big companies. It may or may not apply to all of us, but every company has a flavor in interviews. Do your research and understand your company interviewing you. If you are working with Google, if you are interviewing Google, they're looking for quality actually in your implementation. If this is Meta, for example, they are asking 2-3 questions in one round. So you should be fast. It is different for a company. Do some research. Ask in IT Society channels that you have an interview with this company. Does anyone has any interview experience with this company, etc. So you will get lots of signals. Part of this is take-home assignments. I won't get in too much into this. This is mostly like depends on the platform that they are sending this take-home assignment. This is important. Finish it ASAP. Share your initial solution and tell them you will improve your solution this or that way. In take-home assignments, I have seen that like some platforms recording what you have accomplished so far. If you are not able to move forward more, you can just like put like your thinking after your implementation. Even if it's not a complete answer, you can just talk about your thinking for the next steps, and you can submit your take-home assignment that way. So most parts of on-site interview is almost same as we talked, because interviews are similar to each other on screen and on-site interviews. I will talk about some of these tomorrow in tomorrow's session. Let's keep it short for today. If you have any questions, we have 5 more minutes. If you want to share any experience you had in the past with any company, with any interview, we would like to hear about that. Is there anyone who will have any interviews close nearby?
Hope so.
Hopefully. Okay. If you don't have questions, I will finish early today. Let me wait for 10 more seconds if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, hocam.
Thank you. See you all tomorrow at the same time. We will talk about these parts.
Thank you so much.
Bye.